I was sitting by the community pool just trying to manage my blood sugar like I do every single day when the HOA president Karen stormed over, grabbed my insulin pen right out of my hand, and screamed that I was injecting drugs in public. I froze. The entire pool went silent. And in that moment I realized, this woman might actually get me killed, all because she wanted to protect the neighborhood. So yeah, let me tell you how the HOA turned my life-or-death medical routine into a neighborhood scandal. I live in a quiet, gated community called Maple Grove. Pretty lawns, perfect fences, pastel mailboxes, the kind of place that looks peaceful until you've actually lived here long enough to see what's behind those welcome home signs. I'm 27. I work from home as a designer, and I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was 12. Insulin isn't optional for me. It's survival. I don't drink, I don't party, I don't bother anyone, I just check my glucose, do my injections, and try to stay alive. The HOA president Karen Mitchell. Oh, you couldn't miss her if you tried. Mid-40s platinum blonde bob that probably takes 2 hours every morning and always carrying a clipboard like it's a badge of authority. She walks around like she's auditioning for a neighborhood cop show. Every rule, every lawn height, every trash bin left out 5 minutes too long, she's on it. That morning the sun was warm, kids were playing in the shallow end, and I was sitting under an umbrella near the pool steps. My glucose monitor beeped. My sugar was climbing a bit. Totally normal. I reached into my small medical pouch, pulled out my insulin pen, and prepared to inject into my abdomen. I've done this thousands of times. Quietly, quickly, discreetly. No one usually even notices. But of course Karen noticed. She froze mid-step, eyes wide, clutching her clipboard like it was a holy relic. "Excuse me," she barked across the pool. "What are you doing?" I looked up, caught off guard. "I'm diabetic," I said calmly. "I'm just taking my medication." Her jaw dropped like I'd confessed to something criminal. "You can't do that here," she snapped. "This is a family area, no injecting substances in public." I blinked. "Substances, ma'am, it's insulin. It keeps me alive." But she wasn't listening. She marched right over heels, clicking on the concrete, and said, "You'll hand that over to me right now." HOA policy forbids drug use in shared spaces. I'll have it tested. People started staring. Kids stopped splashing. I could feel every set of eyes drilling into me as if I really was doing something wrong. My chest tightened. "It's not a drug," I said again, quieter this time. "It's insulin. Prescription medication." Karen crossed her arms, her voice louder now. "You expect me to just take your word for it? Anyone can claim that. We have rules here and I intend to enforce them." A younger woman nearby, Rachel I think, called out, "She's literally diabetic, you psycho. Leave her alone." Karen shot her a glare so sharp it could cut glass. "This is between me and the resident," she hissed. "If she refuses to cooperate, I'll have security involved." At that point I was shaking, not from low blood sugar, but from humiliation and anger. I tucked my insulin pen away, grabbed my towel, and just left. I didn't owe this woman an explanation for how I stayed alive, but I should have known Karen wouldn't let it go. The next morning there was an envelope taped to my door, a formal notice from the HOA. Resident violation report, it said. I was accused of injecting an unverified substance in a public area and had 48 hours to submit proof of medical necessity or face fines and suspension of amenities. My hands trembled as I read it. Proof of medical necessity. For insulin. Something my body literally can't live without. I laughed a bitter, shaky laugh because what else could I do? Still, as the day went on, the laughter faded. I started replaying everything in my head. Maybe I shouldn't have done it at the pool. Maybe I should have gone home first. Maybe I really did make people uncomfortable. For a second, just a small, poisonous second, I wondered if I was the problem. That night I sat on my couch staring at my medical bag. My reflection in the window looked small, tired, defeated. I hated how Karen's voice had gotten inside my head. I hated that she'd made me doubt something as basic as taking care of myself. But the next day something in me snapped back. No, I wasn't wrong. She was. And I was done being intimidated by someone who thought a clipboard gave her power over my body. So when the HOA scheduled their monthly meeting open to residents, I showed up. I was nervous as hell, but I sat in the front row, insulin pen in my purse, medical bracelet visible on my wrist. Karen, of course, was at the head of the table with her smug little smile. When it came to community concerns, she stood up, cleared her throat dramatically, and said, "We need to address unsafe and inappropriate conduct in our shared spaces." Her eyes flicked straight to me. "Certain residents have been observed using injection devices near the pool, which violates our zero-tolerance policy on drugs." I could feel my pulse pounding in my ears. I opened my mouth to speak, but someone beat me to it. A calm, confident voice from the back of the room said, "That's not a drug, it's insulin." Everyone turned. Standing there was a woman I'd never seen before, mid-40s. Dark hair and a sleek bob. Glasses, professional outfit. She walked forward like she owned the room. "I'm Dr. Patricia Chen," she said. "I'm a licensed pharmacist and a new resident here." She looked right at Karen. "What you're describing isn't illegal or inappropriate. It's necessary medical care." Karen tried to interrupt. "Excuse me, but this is a private community." Patricia raised a hand. "And that doesn't override federal law. You cannot restrict someone's access to medication or penalize them for managing a chronic illness. Taking insulin is not drug use, it's survival." The room went quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. Karen's face flushed red. "I was just trying to protect our residents. How was I supposed to know?" Patricia didn't flinch. By asking, by not assuming, and by not publicly humiliating someone for treating a medical condition you clearly don't understand. Karen stammered, Well, we have rules." Patricia cut her off again. "Then maybe the rules need to be rewritten." That was the first time I saw Karen speechless. Her jaw actually dropped. People in the room murmured in agreement. A few even nodded toward me, whispering things like, "That poor girl." For the first time in weeks I felt seen. Not pitied, not accused, just understood. But of course Karen wasn't done. 2 days later I went back to the pool determined to live normally. I sat down, tested my blood sugar, and pulled out my insulin. I saw her out of the corner of my eye, standing by the fence, arms crossed, glaring like a hawk. Fine, let her look. I pressed the pen to my stomach and injected. Quick, clean, done. But before I could even put the cap back on, Karen stormed over again. "I warned you," she shrieked, yanking the clipboard from under her arm. "You think you can just ignore HOA rules? Give that to me right now." She reached for my bag, my medical bag, and actually grabbed it. I held on, trying to pull it back. Yelling, "Stop, that's my medication." She wouldn't let go. "You're breaking the law, I'm confiscating this." People started pulling out phones, recording. Someone shouted, "She's taking her medicine. Leave her alone." Karen ignored them, clutching at my stuff, her face twisted in self-righteous fury. That's when I heard a familiar voice. Patricia shouting, "Let go of her right now." Within minutes, 2 local officers arrived. One of the lifeguards had called them. Karen immediately turned the waterworks on. I was just trying to protect the neighborhood. "She's endangering people." But the officer, after hearing both sides and seeing the video, shook his head. "Ma'am, that's prescription medication. You can't confiscate it. That's harassment and attempted theft." Karen went pale. "Theft, I was helping." Patricia, calm as ever, said, "Helping doesn't involve grabbing someone's medical supplies." The officer gave me a reassuring nod, then turned to Karen. "If this happens again, you'll be charged." "Understood." Karen mumbled something about misunderstanding and trying to do the right thing, but it was too late. Everyone had seen the truth. The clipboard queen wasn't a protector, she was a bully. The HOA board held an emergency vote the following week. Multiple residents filed complaints, videos circulated in our neighborhood group chat, and by unanimous decision, Karen was removed as HOA president. I found out later that she tried to spin the story, told people she was being targeted for caring too much, but that didn't stick. The board even updated their policies. Residents could manage medical conditions freely in shared areas, and no HOA member could interfere with personal health care devices. I never saw Karen again after that month. Rumor has it she sold her house quietly and moved out of state. As for me, I still sit by that same pool every morning. I still check my sugar, still inject my insulin. But now when I do, I don't hide it. I don't look around to see who's watching. Because I've realized something: people like Karen don't just hate what they don't understand, they fear it. And fear, when mixed with power, turns into control. But control only works if you let them take your voice. And I'm done staying quiet. Because nobody, not even a self-appointed HOA dictator, gets to decide how I keep myself alive. Lesson. Some people think they're heroes when they're really the villains, and sometimes standing up for yourself is the only way to survive the neighborhood.